Tell him I got the juice.
2018 when I thought I heard the voice of God about who my husband.
Woo! Did y'all hear? No. We're not going too fast. She said when she thought she heard the voice of God about who her husband was. Now tell me how you found out if it was a thought.
I mean, I was so clear for years. Okay. Probably like 2 years.
Guys, we're gonna talk about it. I had her name saved in my phone as his last name.
Yeah, like it was a thing. Like I was serious. I had evidence. I had wrote it down. I had talked to you. Like I was like, this is what the Lord has said. And then 2-3 years later, it was like, oop. No, it wasn't.
No, you can't skip. You can't skip. They got to know how you go from that short to like, no.
I'm so grateful she did that, by the way. I'm so grateful she did that. Because that right there, yeah, need that.
Was it the time how long it had been? Okay.
No. I'm trying to see how I can say I found out without saying I found out. But I don't think he liked girls.
Oh, snap.
Okay.
That's awkward. No, that's that's tough.
That's too far.
That's tough.
That's too far.
During that year, I was just starting to even develop my relationship with God and to even know what he sounded like. And so if I can hear like, oh, this is my husband, but I can't hear to like get up every morning and pray, like there's something like.
Can you snap? Can y'all snap? I need snaps in the chat.
The first thing you hear is like, and I had to deal. I mean, I'm talking about years, not like a couple of months, not like this was a situation. So I really had to like really peel back like what it means to like hear the voice of God and what type of things he would say to you. So it was a real struggle. Y'all was my witnesses.
I think here's something that I've learned, and even in my own experiences in, again, a specific relationship that I carry now, where I've actually shared prayers that I've prayed and things of that sort. I was really careful, and I choose to remain careful in saying the idea of God told me. That carries so much weight. And dare I say, could it lead, or is it potentially an early sign of spiritual manipulation when that happens? Now, I'm not saying that everybody that does that has moved in a spiritual manipulative way, because I do think that it is very possible God moves in those situations and God could possibly be present. However, that is just not the case for me. In some cases, you can feel a strong sense of something and you're almost daring to just label that God. And I've had so many times where I've messed up in hearing God, or I thought I heard God on something and it really wasn't. Okay. I thought I was hearing God, really put on my heart to leave school. And no, that wasn't the case. Okay. So what I've learned is to not rush to say God told me. It doesn't leave room for human error, because what's crazy is you could be wrong. Like you may not have heard God correctly. And so to avoid you looking silly in some ways, and furthermore, the bigger picture, to avoid maybe potentially being a stumbling block to someone else's belief or legitimate belief in God, right? So if you went and told somebody, hey, God told me I was this, that, and the third, and then they're like,
yo, well, I don't really feel the same, but how could I even tell that to this person if God said
and this, that, and the third, and so then they feel coerced or forced into that space, like, that can be so damaging in so many ways. And I don't think that may be something that a lot of people consider in those spaces. So what we want to do is say, hey, I think it's possible God is possibly putting this on my heart, but I'm not saying that it is God. I'm not telling you that God told me. I'm just saying it's possible that I believe that this is something God is leading me to see. And I think when you share something like that, and I also learned this from Alan Parr, which I thought was so applicable, especially in a time of season in my life. When you move like that, you're giving room to the possibility that you can be wrong. One of the things that I did in constantly sharing the prayer specifics and all those kinds of things was really saying, hey, yo, take this to God. Like, take this to God in prayer. No doubt about it. Hear God more than you hear me. In no way, shape, or form am I saying that God is telling me these things. These are just things that I think I'm being led to see. If there's something way off, let me know. Okay. Let me know when I'm doing too much, all that kind of stuff. I gave full brevity and room for this individual to step in and be like, okay, no, you kind of tripping. And I think that's a safe way to play that, because the last thing you want to do is use that as a way to coerce somebody to see things the way you do, thereby trying to move in a romantic romantic space or anything like that, and then they are manipulated in the process because no one is even hearing God in that space. And so I think when you're moving romantically, when you're moving in those spaces, you want to move wisely in that and not necessarily jump the gun and say God told you. I love the humility that she shows here. She's like, yo, I misheard. And a lot of that comes from a need to grow in maturity. And I'm no way in shape telling you I got it all figured out, because I don't. I'm learning and growing and learning to hear the voice of God every day and still doing it, right? And getting into spaces of prayer in the morning and reading and recognizing, okay, this is God, this isn't God, and recognizing when it's on my own thoughts and impatience and insecurities. And when, like, I'm growing in that every day. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. Is the best way to do that is by reading your scriptures, getting into a place of prayer every day, and not just rambling things off in prayer, but listening for God in prayer. Before I start my day, and as I'm ending my day, pulling away from things, I'm getting into a place of silence and solitude. And I'm not saying nothing. There might be some things that are running through my mind. Maybe I do have a little bit to say. Maybe I don't have much to say, right? It's sometimes back and forth on night in, night out basis. But you want to get into a place and a rhythm where you're just still quiet and attentively trying to listen for God and what he's putting on your heart and mind to think on, ponder on, to see. God is just as active in seeing what you're writing down as he is in listening to when you're speaking. Journaling, getting into that space of repetition, like that has helped me a lot. Be okay with moving in humility if you got something wrong. Leave space in some of those areas that if you got something wrong, that you got it wrong. Man, I misheard. I really wasn't hearing as well as I thought I was. And it's something that you just want to consider. Just let me know your thoughts. God told me, is that something that you've used? Is that something that you've heard? What are your thoughts towards that? I think that's legit. And I love her humility there. So dubs all around. Thank you so much for joining me in this clip. This is from a recent live stream that I have just done. If you want to check that out, click somewhere on the screen, and there you can catch the full replay along with so much more content we've got here for you, learning how to navigate and grow healthy, happy, whole, and biblical relationships. I'll see you over there.